Welcome to the Backpack Town Hall for 2021. Then how they have done in the past. We'll just try this, and based on your feedback, we'll see whether in the future, or we might, decide just to go back to the way we used to have it as an open discussion. So how we're going to work, we've split tonight up into some sections. So we'll start off with some general board information, and then we'll move into the question and answers for each department. If you want to ask a question tonight, you can just raise your hand. There should be a button to raise your hand. We've got the list here, so we'll add you up onto the stage so you can ask your question. Tonight we're going to try and keep pretty brief. Obviously, Queensland's come out of lockdown tonight, so people have places to be and things to do. So we'll try and get this done by 8:30, so an hour and a half. So we'll start off with Zach and a board discussion, and then we'll open the floor for questions regarding that. And after each section has concluded, we're going to clear the raised hand list. And then if you want to ask a question for the next section, you can just click to raise your hand again. So I'll move it over to Zach now to start.
Yeah, g'day. Look, I don't really have too much to say at the moment. Yeah, if you haven't met me, my name's Zach. I was living in New South Wales, now living in Melbourne. About 3 weeks before they shut the borders. Yeah, been in Backpack for 9 years or something ridiculous. Not as long as some other people here, but long enough now. And yeah, been on the board since a year and a half ago, I think it was. Yeah, as I said, I don't really have too much to say from a board of directors, or from a director's point of view, because my sort of position just oversees everybody else's portfolios. But I guess if there's any overall questions that people have about, the division or anything that's happening or whatever, now's through the time to ask about generic stuff. And then if you've got specific questions about ATC or events or whatever that is, then they can go to the specific board members. But if there's a sort of a general, Backpack overall question, I think that's probably where we should start. Blair, do you agree with that?
Yeah, completely. So I reckon we haven't got any requests for you, Zach. So we'll get straight into events, I reckon, with Josh. So Josh, if you want to start with events, and if you've got a question for Josh, feel free to raise your hand from now. I've opened the list up, and we'll try and get to as many as we can.
Alrighty, beautiful. Thanks, Blair. Just for anyone who doesn't know who I am, hi, my name's Josh. I'm the Director of Events for all of you guys. Look, I just want to kind of touch on a couple of things that are upcoming in the events department, then I'll open the floor, so it should only be a few minutes. First off, a lot of you probably are aware that we do ask for feedback of all of our major events. I just want to extend a thank you to everyone who actually fills them out. They're very, very helpful in finding out what you, the community, are thinking about the events. We do only usually tend to get 15 to 20 responses per feedback link, so if we can bump that up a little bit, we'd appreciate it. But we still get enough feedback from you all that the general direction that our events are going so far this year is that everyone's liking it. Just a couple of changes to things that are happening this month. So you're all aware that VATSIM turned 20. So Backpack's doing 2 events for August this year. So in August for this one. So we've got Line Up Pacific on the 21st of August from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. on the Saturday. And then we've got Birthday Bash East Coast from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Those 2 events are on the calendar and the event announcements forum, so you can access them all in the normal ways. In terms of those 2 events, VATSIM is doing their giveaways, etc., but VATPAC is not involved in the giveaway bit. So please no emails about how the giveaway process is done, because I'm not involved in it. Tapping on a couple of major events that we've got upcoming. So the biggest one probably for the year, World Flight. We're in the process now with that one. Things are coming along nicely, and we should have all the information up for you within the next couple of weeks. the F&O, the VAT USA F&O is coming back down under on the 15th of October. And we've got Real Ops Brisbane planned for December as well. So what I'm going to do is, if anyone's got any questions about events in general, feel free to raise your hand and Blair will invite you up to ask your questions.
Oh, we've got no questions yet.
I'm sure someone has a question. Come on.
I guess we could briefly touch on the non-standard positions for Milk on Monday, maybe. Oh, we got some questions now. Okay, I'm going to invite Josephine up to the stage.
Thank you very much, everyone. Look, my question is with regards to non-standard positions. I understand that it's not something that we want to have all the time, but my question is this. If you have two people that are known to one another that have mutual consent from one another, why can they not divide the sector between them? So it's not like cutting someone's grass. You have two friends or two colleagues that want to share that airspace with, for example, Eildon Weir and Snow. Why should that not be allowed to be done at any time with mutual consent?
Okay, so that question currently is being discussed by the board as we speak. I do see your point. Are you talking in just a general idea or specifically in events there?
No, anytime.
Okay, so we have started an open discussion. Zach, I don't know if you want to make any comments on it or anyone else does at the same time. But personally, from the way the policy is currently set up, it can't. The approval process doesn't really work that way. However, we are currently looking at potentially changing that approval process.
Well, changing policy should be rather simple. I mean, at the end of the day, you guys set the policy, and if there's no reason to have a rule in place, I mean, they're rules for rules' sake. We're here to have fun, we're here to enjoy it, and we're here to share it, moreover. So if we have rules that are in place that are impeding being able to share it and enjoy it as a community and together, I put it to the board that needs to be reviewed.
Yeah, so I'll jump in here. I actually, and there's a couple of people in here that would know that I've already opened this discussion. I've proposed that the whole non-standard positions thing be abolished, that all non-standard positions are free for all, essentially, with a couple of rules, as you basically suggested, that you talk to the person who's already on. If they're your friend and you mutually agree, then you can open the non-standard position. That's my suggestion to the board. That's something I've been advocating for. Now that there's certainly some ongoing discussions about that, but the feedback's generally positive. We're just working through a couple of things, but Los Angeles, they've got their non-standard centre positions that they just open up and shut down whenever. So that was my sort of example to the board to say, why aren't we doing this? Now we can't just there has to be some sort of accountability, because I'm sure there's a few people in here that, might say, oh, well, I'll go and tell this younger, inexperienced person and say, hey, let me open up this position because it's going to do you good, even though it may not, so we've got to have some sort of accountability there if we're going to have people abusing the system. But we also, I think it's too convoluted. I think there's too many politics, and I think that we should just be able to say, hey, do you mind if I open up departures any day? Hey, do you mind if I open up Eildon Weir? Hey, whatever. Well, look, I think we should be able to do that.
Could I put it to the board that there could be a certain trigger with regards to a volume of traffic? Say you've got a more inexperienced user on approach, and the TMA fills up. There should be a trigger whereby that position can be opened for a director or for departures, because number one, if it's a more junior controller, a recent S3, for example, that's now being drowned by traffic and is going to be, afforded a negative experience of their online time as a result of that, and likewise pilots will also feel that negative experience. Is there any way, I asked this question of the board, is there any way in order to have a trigger whereby that that position becomes sustainable and requisite.
Yeah, definitely. That's sort of exactly what I was saying before. That I propose a number of things. One whereby you ask the other controller if it's okay, and also others where there's a threshold. But thresholds are hard to have just a blanket. We need this thing to be relatively simple. We can't have a 1,500-page policy that people have to try and work out whether this sector has X amount of traffic in the X minutes to trigger a non-standard. Like it's got to be something that can just be a blanket apply to all sort of things. So I would have said that even if we went down this path, there would still be things like C3s have the ability to activate whenever. So to directors. And so that means, if you're at an event and someone's saying, no, I don't approve.
Frankly speaking, from what I've seen in the non-standard approvals chat, there's been a degree of pernicious kind of behaviour with regards to sectors being opened up, rather than it being approached from an open point of view. It's almost been like, I've seen witch hunts happen there. And for a community to be doing that, I don't think is constructive or healthy.
No, and that's the point that I've made to the board as well because I'm the one that sort of started this petition. So that was my point, that it seems to be quite a contentious issue, and I don't think it needs to be. But yeah, I think I made it clear that this is something that I'm passionate about. I don't want there to be red tape with non-standards. I think it should be changed, and there is an active forum thread in the board forum about making this change. So and because it's a policy, and because we have this constitution, whether or not I like the constitution or not, I'll keep that to myself, but because we've got this constitution that I have to go and I have to then publish all these changes to everybody before they get changed. So you'll see before this policy comes into effect with what, and you'll be able to make feedback on that. So, but to summarize, it's something that I want to change.
No, I appreciate that. Call it a feeling. One last thing I'd say is, call it a gut feeling, but it feels like we have layers of policy on policy. I mean, I run a rather large business, and we have nowhere near the amount of policy documents and red tape that VATPAC do. And I'm sure that there are real-world flying organisations that don't either. First and foremost, we're here to have fun and enjoy our hobby. And as soon as it becomes bureaucracy sim, I think there are certain people that are respected pillars of the community that step off that train, and that's what we've got to be careful of.
Yeah, no, and I agree. That's, again, like the board will hopefully echo my thoughts in that I've been trying to get rid of some of this excess stuff since I've started. But I don't know if anybody else wants to comment on the non-standard stuff from their point of view, or if we just want to leave it at that.
We've got to keep moving. But
Blair, can I just touch on?
No, you're right.
Joe mentioned about a couple of points there about policy and the existing policy. I just wanted to provide some background, being the person who's been around here the longest, on the board for the longest, out of the group that's standing up here now. This policy was generated out of a time where our non-standard positions were really unofficial. They were made up on the spot when we needed them for an event. They were only used for events, and there was even more restriction in that sense on who was allowed to use them. We then went to an airspace structure where our en route sectors especially were broken up into smaller chunks, so that those smaller chunks could be activated when they were required. Mm-hmm. And this policy was formed around that time to try to, I guess, sort of control somewhat of a free-for-all of people opening up, a non-standard sector when they should be opening a standard sector, for example. In terms of the policy upon policy comment, I understand your point about running a business and running a flying organisation. Those sorts of organisations have the advantage of knowing who they're dealing with, and being able to see who they're dealing with and have some kind of relationship with who they're dealing with. An online organisation such as VATPAC needs to have things written down so that new people who are coming and going and are basically anonymous to us, we can have a framework to refer to for those people. So, yes, as Zach says, that very point that you raised, Joe, is being discussed at the moment about what we can do to the activation of non-standard positions.
Excellent.
In order to make them more accessible and less controversial. As Zach says, it's just a matter of going through that process. Technicalities around what happens when the overarching controller logs off, the larger sector controller logs off. Does the person who then logs on for the larger sector also need to consent to the smaller sector being open, or is the smaller sector person responsible for moving up to the larger sector? Technicalities around that can be fleshed out, and we're just working through those things at the moment.
Greg, just as a final thing, I'd put it to you that I understand that's how non-standard started, but last week on Milk Run Monday, there were a group of us that were, relatively slammed with traffic, and it was the opening of those other sectors that made things as seamless as possible. No general holding, no mucking around, and we handled a colossal amount of traffic thanks to being able to do that.
Absolutely. So the system worked.
Absolutely, it did. No question.
Yeah, good to hear.
Great. Well, I reckon we'll keep moving now. Thanks, Josephine, for that question. Always a pleasure. I'll maybe back down to the audience unless you've got just any.
No, not a problem. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for hearing me out.
Great. No, you're right. We'll move on to the next question from Eddie. There you go.
Hi there. This is with regards to events. So I get that we have big events such as the global event with was it Fly Global was it?
World
He's just talking about
Fly,
that one.
yes, Fly World. So I understand that with these global events it takes a lot of planning. And my question is, can we expect to see more events such as Fly Global? So, example, that pack with, I don't know, Japan or the Southeast Asia or with Europe or with America?
Okay. So yes, you can. I've already been in contact with VAT USA and with West Asia about potential long haul events next year. In terms of whether or not those events actually happen is down to the survey that we've got going for next year's events and who wants what. So last year when I did the survey, I had about 86 responses and only 12 people wanted a long haul event, hence why we didn't really have any of them. So if I get sufficient interest from the community on the survey in general about a longer haul event, like World Flight's the one that goes for 7 days. So I'm assuming you're talking about something like Cross the Pond, Across the Land, where it's the 1 day where it's a longer flight. Is that what you're getting at more?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, it is possible. It entirely depends on whether or not the community votes to have a longer event. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Brilliant. Thanks, Eddie. Is there anything else you want to touch on before we move it back down?
That's all. Thank you.
Brilliant. No worries. We've got 2 more questions. One from James. There you go. James, still want to answer your question? Oh, there we go.
Oh, hello. Sorry, obviously I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller. I just wanted to underline what Josephine had to say very briefly. Of course, we've already covered it, but I think get rid of the bureaucracy for non-standard positions. It only adds red tape for no reason. It adds a hierarchy for no reason. If we get rid of it, it only adds realism, adds flexibility, reduces workload on controllers, removes bureaucracy. Nothing at the moment stopping me doing Snowtown and someone jumping on Melbourne Approach and cutting all my grass. So I don't see the grass cutting excuse as a particularly valid one. And well, I think I've shot my bolt. Make that a priority to get rid of the non-standard position bureaucracy.
Yeah, Yeah, we're working on it.
That's
Definitely.
covered. We're working on it. Can I just point out,
Much
Joe's
now.
still listening, that as a senior controller, Joe is actually authorised to open a non-standard
I
position.
know, but I've also heard the disaster that goes on in that chat about getting it and then begging other people, and then Josh McAuliffe specifically to call you out, monitoring, and then deciding when the traffic doesn't constitute having non-standard positions anymore. I think it's ridiculous.
Okay.
Yeah, we're working on it. We've already talked about this in a private message, James. So,
Yeah, I know. I need to publicly open
Yeah.
it.
that's fine. We've already worked
Right.
on a private message, and you know what's happening. I've already spoken to you. I probably told you too much than I am supposed to tell you anyway. So,
Well, thanks, James.
Thank you, Comrade Zach.
We'll get onto that, and
always a
we'll provide an
pleasure.
update later once we've got what we want in mind. So we'll move on now onto everyone's favourite part of tonight, which is the membership part. And I don't really have much to talk about. I'm happy to open up now to questions regarding Discord, the website, well, not the website, but the forums, and if you've got any other membership questions. So, right, we'll start off. There you go, Bill. Right, well, Bill doesn't seem to join up, so we'll move on to the next one. Joshua.
Yes, hello. Just my question really is, I know a lot of people have been complaining about it as well. And I know you guys have been like giving people soft bans and stuff due to the Discord statuses. I just want to clarify on that because a lot of people, I'm 99.9% sure, Vatpack isn't the only Discord that people are in, and people could be doing it for other Discord servers. Sorry. And what I've been noticing is when people have, like, for example, I'm going to say it out there, my status horny. I've been getting told to remove it, or if I don't remove it, I'm going to get banned or something. But it could be for another Discord server. So I just want some clarification on that because Vatpack's not the only Discord that people are in.
Yeah,
I think
right.
at the end of the day, you're on our Discord. You need to be abiding by the VATSIM code of conduct, and you can't fly around with horny in your VATSIM remarks. Like,
No.
it's not pretty.
It's not in the remarks. It's in the Discord. Like that, I'm saying.
Yeah, no. I'm just giving an example. I'm just saying, like, it doesn't matter whether, like, I don't know how to put it, but other than if you want to be part of our Discord, then
other people put, like, for example, I don't know, like a YouTube link, and if it goes to an inappropriate website, that's like 20% of the population click on it. Then I've been hearing that some people have been telling them off and stuff.
Well, look, at the end of the day, Joshua, it's what would you think is, if you say you're on a Discord for an employment, I don't know, for your employer, say, McDonald's decided tomorrow they wanted to make a Discord and your boss saw that was on your status, what would their opinion towards that be? And we've got to remember that, this Discord, we've got people from ages 13, through to 75, maybe onwards. We've got people of different beliefs, different religions, and we've got to make sure that what might be considered inappropriate for one person might not be inappropriate for another person. But we have to remember that we've got to create a welcoming and open environment for everyone, and that we can't have people, with like anti-Semitic, Discord statuses that people can see on the list, because it's not inviting, it's not welcoming, and it goes against VATSIM policies and our Discord policy. And at the end of the day, this Discord is governed by the VATSIM code of conduct, and if the VATSIM code of conduct says that that's inappropriate, which it does, then we've got to moderate against it and ask you to stop. And if you can't stop, then we'll have to issue you with a hard or a soft ban. If someone else wants to touch on that, maybe.
Could I just put a bit of an example in? It's kind of like you putting a sign on the front of your house and saying, my neighbor is a XYZ, and then your neighbor doesn't like it. I mean, it's kind of, you just got to be considerate of everyone, I guess.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, Joshua. I'll move back down to the audience now. We'll go to the next one. The next question's from Liesel.
Blair, are these people getting an invite to speak?
Yeah, they do get an invite, but
Yeah.
if they don't click it.
Yeah. So when
Okay,
you
we'll
when
move
you
on.
put your hand
Oh,
up
here we
and
are.
you get
There's
an
Zim.
invite, click up the top. Yep.
I was speaking, but not realizing I had to click the invite.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go then. Thank you. Okay, so my question, of course, as you expect, relates to the Discord. So I understand that moderating a place like this is absolutely a pain. There's a lot of people who don't participate in good faith, and I wish that wasn't the case. But would you agree with me that perhaps the recent style of moderating that can come across as, say, perhaps secretive or not transparent in the case of deleting messages, like, for example, a meme about the logo last night, which I don't think violated the policy, and also just generally a sense of non-communication. Do you feel like there's a way to improve that, or do you have any sort of feelings about how we can improve Discord moderation?
Look, I'll just jump in here and say, just to anybody that's got comments about Discord moderation, whether or not it's happening to like messages, like at the end of the day, we have a Discord where there's people from supposedly the age of 13, or probably earlier, because we all know that half of us signed up before we were 13. So we, as moderators and directors, have to protect people that are underage, because at the end of the day, if they see something on here that's not appropriate, or if they, I don't know, feel bullied or something like that, they go and jump off a building, they kill themselves. Then they come to me, their parents come to me, the police come to me and say, hey, Zach, you're the director of that pack. Why didn't you do something about it? Okay, so we have a responsibility here. It's not a bloody Xbox game. It's not a bloody shoot 'em up Discord. It's not Discord with your friends. It's Fat Pack. Yes, it's a simulator. Yes, it's supposed to be fun, and that's what we're trying to make. But if people are putting out, rubbish, which some of the stuff are, it's now. I'll admit that when the meme last night got deleted, I did say, why did we delete that? That was a bit silly. Like, that's fine to leave that stuff up there, but there was some other stuff getting posted, and we just delete it straight away because we don't like. It's just common sense, isn't it? Seriously, like, don't post stupid stuff on this chat where there's people that are 12 or 13 years old and they don't know how to post this stuff. Some of you guys are 20, 30, older. You should know better. Like, seriously, this is my 2 cents. I know that Brett would probably agree with me, that all the other board would agree with me. It's not that we are trying to be a dictatorship. It's not that we're trying to do anything. We just have to create an environment that is safe for not just you and your friends having a meme, but anybody that reads this channel, however many hundreds of people that are on here that log in and go, oh, what's that? Oh, shit, whatever. Okay, like, I'm sorry, but we can't have that stuff. No, well, seriously, people are posting that last night and they think,
Zach, this
why
is
am I
going on
getting
YouTube,
banned?
mate.
Well, it is. No, but like, seriously, like, pardon?
You're entirely correct, though. It's
Yeah.
definitely unfortunate that you have to deal with that stuff. I think the main
And
point
so-
I was trying to get to is, while we're in a state where people are under the impression, this is not a view I believe, by the way, but just kind of speaking of what I feel is being, the attitude is of that kind of shadiness and not being transparent. Do you think there's a way to improve that attitude? And
Yeah, just to touch on that, when you say that stuff is like deleted and immediately and stuff, yeah, sure, stuff has to get deleted immediately to get it out of view. But moderators will always take a screenshot of it or log it in some form, and then in their report later on, it's all logged. So there is all mechanisms behind the scenes to log it, and there's a channel where all of these posts are logged. So it's not just delete it and that's it, it's gone. There is a log.
And
I used to be a Discord mod, yeah.
and I think people they think that some of us may just be deleting stuff out of spite, and I can say from experience that it's not the case. There's a line, and if you're hovering near the line, even if you think you haven't crossed over the line, we're always going to take the side of caution and delete it instead of, oh, is that borderline? Is it borderline? Yes, then it's probably going to be deleted. And we've got a whole moderation team that we can't just spend our entire day just moderating stuff. So if you've mucked around so many times. People feel like, oh, they're being like, attacked by the moderators and being banned, for the sake of being banned. That's not the case. It's just we don't have the resources and the time to sit on here 24/7 moderating and deleting stuff. And when people continually muck around, tonight we had someone change the town hall meeting to unban me, please. These sort of things, we just have to issue a
And
ban.
might I add, that
because-
person then messaged us and said, "Oh, but why have you extended my ban?" I mean, seriously, like,
Yeah, it's
like, I don't even have any words to that. Like, why have you extended my ban?
the thing I was told when I joined, when I was soft banned off this Discord, I think it was about a year ago. Sorry, 2 years ago. Callum said to me, don't post anything in this Discord that you wouldn't want your employer to see. And I thought, oh yeah, very funny. But the fact is, aviation is such a small world. And, I know for a fact we've got people in here whose bosses are actually in this Discord. And, say you're a kid and you mucked around as a kid, and then you go to apply for an airline and, oh, lo and behold, Zach's now the CEO of Qantas. People, it's such a small world and people
That's not
remember
gonna happen.
people.
You never know. Never say never.
That's a real life scenario.
yeah. Speaking from experience, and you've got to remember that this is an open community. We've got people of all ages that come into here and try and enjoy themselves, and we just can't have people just mucking around. And for that, we've got to moderate.
Yep.
Seems Lee's will step down from the stage, so we'll move on to the next question. From Flynn. So Flynn, I've sent you an invitation to join.
Blair, can I just add on the end there that
sorry, yeah,
the process that we go through with cutting and pasting what we've moderated and discussing it behind closed doors also helps us to improve the way the moderators moderate the server. Because Zach gave the example of the logo meme last night, and it was kind of, oh yeah, that's probably okay. But as Blair says, if it's probably okay or probably not okay, it's probably got no place. But it does help us to discuss and help our moderators learn where the line is and when to use discretion. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, 100%. So Flynn, go ahead.
All right. So this is about the website. Don't get me wrong, I really like the new website. But there's a few things that I think could be changed, like the background colors for both light and dark mode. So on light mode, there's a very small difference between the that toolbar at the top that has home, about, help, community, controllers, and events. There's a very small difference in color, as well as in the dark mode. It's very
maybe just to speed things up, Flynn, I'll get you to put this in a list. Just put it in a list, what needs to be done. Send it through to Blair and he'll do it. And if you can help him do it as well as a volunteer, then that'd be
okay.
great. So just
needs to be
put
done
a
and
list
why.
together, and then we'll just, because everybody here doesn't need to hear all the list.
Okay. I was just gonna say it because so that the community could also have their say about it as well.
I think we also have to remember.
We
have to remember as well is that we can't please everyone, and everyone has a different taste and different design. So
it looks
we've just got to we've got to look at things with how can we make this the best for majority. And look, we're always open for change, always open for discussion. We've been sitting on this thing for quite a while, and we're now tinkering here and there. So yeah, if you can send that through a list to me, I'll put up some stuff. And we'll we can see where we go from there. So thanks for that question.
And it's not like this is a finished product or anything. This stuff gets done.
That's why I was raising it, just to because I knew it's not finished.
If you've got feedback, submit feedback. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Too easy. Thank you very much.
I thought actually on the whole feedback thing, now might be a good time.
Please tell me the feedback form works.
Yeah. Now might be a good time to just briefly touch on, and if Adam's around, he might come in here. You could chat about that.
He's actually next in line.
Yes, there we go. Well, Adam, we can talk about the new membership ticketing, and then you can ask your questions. So we're in the process of implementing a very schmick ticketing system.
Just Blair, I just made a post on the NOTAMs to say that it's available. So when you say in the process of working, it's actually done.
Oh,
as Adam will go through.
Yes.
Ooh.
So we might talk about that now. So Adam and
My
Zach
two
know
section.
far more on me about this. So yeah, we'll go into that and then we might move back to Discord. Give Discord a break for a second. There you go.
Wonderful. So, g'day everyone. I'm Adam. I am the forget what my title is, Manager Systems IT Support stuff under Tom. So we implemented the support center to make it a bit more, let's say, a bit easier for you guys to get in contact with all the leadership and the teams for our VAP because, as people have highlighted, it tends to be highly bureaucratic and it definitely doesn't help with feedback and stuff like that. So we have the new help desk support software, which is available at helpdesk.vatpack.org, and should be links on the forum. So there's two ways to submit tickets now. You can go in and you can sign up. So there's a sign up button, and you can log in with your VATSIM credentials, and that will log you in, and you can log a ticket, or you can just send an email to support@vatpack.org, and that will find its way through the magic of someone doing it manually to the correct department, and it'll get done. So it's very straightforward. You'll get email updates whenever things are sent to you or you require further information. And this is also the same system that the VATSIM membership team use at a global level. So if you are familiar with that, then that's basically the same thing with a different theme. So yeah, it's not overly complicated on the end of everyone who'll be using it as a proper user, not as an agent. And yeah, you should just be able to log in, update, add information to your tickets, and get your problem solved more expeditiously, which should be good. That's all I've got. I actually wasn't planning to speak, so.
Were you waiting to ask a question?
I was actually. Well, I just wanted to make sure, does anyone else have anything to add or anything like that before I ask my question?
Yeah, just quickly on that. So this ticketing system will sort of replace the whole feedback.vatpack.org. So at the moment that's still available, but within about a week that'll go in favor of the new ticketing system because ticketing is better. You instead of emailing a director directly when you have a problem or whatever. When it's put into a ticketing system, there'll actually be a lot more people that can go and look at it, and we won't be having to forward emails around to try and get someone to action it. It'll be you get much more eyes on your problem, especially when it comes to issues with Discord, for example. I can't tell you how many emails I get a day about people saying they can't access the Discord, and then I email them back to say, you're not in VATPack, read the policy. So using the ticketing system will benefit and feedback will go.
And just further to that, we have a lot of people who've come on as extra staff, and like Tom said, there is that thing where the directors, and I know that I've received many an email from Zach and Josh about certain things, and that means that they can focus more on making life better for everyone, and let those volunteers actually do what they're here to do as part of their role. So it'll be good in enabling that. Cool. Okay. Well, in that case, I'm going to go on to my next question, which is not Discord related, controversially, I guess. So this actually came out. My hot water system exploded last week, and we needed to get a plumber out. And old mate noticed my Honeycomb Bravo, I'm not flexing, I swear, box that was in my garage. And we were speaking about flight sim, and he's like, oh yeah, I just didn't want to get on the VAT sim because it's a bit too professional for me. And I sort of said, oh no, come on, it'll be really great. Gave him a little bit of a spiel about it, but it was a very hard sell. And then afterwards I went on and sort of checked out, oh, maybe there's some, and this is not necessarily a VATPack thing either, because I don't think VATSIM does it great at a high level. And I went on, and there's really not much there for new people, and then there's not resources on if you're an existing member for how to sell VATSIM to people. And it is really easy when you're used to it, you're in it every day. It's a bit like VATSIS and stuff like that. Yeah, it's really easy to use when you use it every day, but new users can be a bit difficult. With VATSIM, we don't have those resources readily available, and especially now that Aviation Pro stopped making videos, like there's just not much out there. Is there something that VATPAC can do, or maybe VATSIM is actually doing to sort of solve that or make that new user onboarding experience or marketing a bit better?
Yeah, so definitely. So I can't speak from a VATSIM side. I mean, maybe Zach might be more knowledgeable in terms of what VATSIM's been doing, but I do know they implemented the pilots training program and they restructured that. But in terms of a VATPAC level, we're in the process, and it's a long process of making a new help section. We did sort of a band-aid fix, which was the help drop down on the VATPAC site, where we sort of made a few new pilot controller. There's a few Euroscope and VATSIS tutorials, and we'll build on those. We'll make more as we have the time and availability to do so. I know there's currently a circuit tutorial in the works, thanks to Will Menzies, and I know that we've also been working on quite a few VATSIS tutorials and how to join in terms of the pilot side and getting started with vPilot, Xscore box, Xpilot, all those good stuff. So we've definitely got stuff in the works regarding help sections, and it's coming. It just it's a bit off, and hopefully we'll get some stuff going for pilot tutorials. I know we've just recently redone the pilot tutorials for IFR Melbourne to Sydney, Hobart Lonnie, Albury Melbourne, and flying in oceanic airspace. So we've updated those. If you're a new member and you're listening now and you're not sure where to start, help section of vatpac.org. There's lots of good stuff on there for pilot tutorials. Yeah, and I know Nick Falcione's been making some great stuff with Pushing Tin, a few VATSIS videos. So I'm certain we'll have something in the pipelines, and I know there's been talk of maybe a training live stream or something where we can get some people on during a milk run, so you can have a listen to something while we're in the live stream. But yeah, for now, we've got what we've got, but yeah, we're definitely looking to improve upon that and find some stuff for the future. Hopefully
I'll just tidy you up there, Blair, and just say I think that's a really good idea, Adam, in terms of not the tutorial side of thing, but the actual how to bring people in. I think that's something we could do better. I think, Blair, maybe we could certainly look at some sort of introductory video or introductory page or something that if you want to invite your friend and you're not quite sure how to explain it to them, then maybe we could certainly have something better from a VATPAC point of view. If VATSIM's not going to do it, and I have no idea what VATSIM is going to do.
Just also out there for people joining VATSIM, there's the Learning Centre at VATSIM, which is the overall global get going in whatnot, which whatever we get going here in VATPAC, we could support.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's a work in progress. I just dropped my book. It's a work in progress, Adam, and we'll definitely, we definitely also want to increase our marketing, and that's something I've been looking to do about how can we get it, how can we promote the fact that VATPAC exists and that people can come into this community. But I guess also we need support with VATSIM for all those sort of things. So yeah, we might wrap that question up. Now, unless you've got anything else, Adam, and we'll move on to the next one.
No, that's it. I'd just like to say that I do know it's a hard one because I thought about possible solutions. I'm like, no, that's dumb. So I couldn't come up with anything better. I just thought I'd ask the question. Thanks,
Nothing's dumb, and just if you've got any ideas, just start a forum thread in because obviously you're a staff member, so start a forum thread in the staff forums and just get everybody's opinion on it. But yeah, let's move it on.
Yeah.
Blair.
We'll move on. So we'll just do one or two more for membership, and then we'll get on. So Zane, there you go.
Yeah. So I've got two questions. They're both Discord related. So my first question is in relation to reactions from people to text messages. So as of lately, including today and yesterday, there have been a couple of people who have been putting rather silly or stupid reactions to messages that have been posted on this Discord. Not only to on messages posted by myself, but for other people as well. Do you agree that that silly reactions would be covered on the Discord policy, or if there's going to be any enforcement action that is to be considered in regards to those sorts of reactions? And
Yeah,
that's my first
Discord,
question.
the reactions are part of the Discord policy, and I banned somebody last night for inappropriate reactions, and somebody else. Yeah. Anyway, yes, reactions are part of the policy. That answers that question.
Yeah, and obviously people that are soft banned, we don't want them to react, and we're looking into ways to remove that. And sorry, Zane, I think you
they
said
are moderated, aren't they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they are moderated. Zane, so I thought you said you had a second one, just quickly.
Yeah, I had a second question. So for people who I've been hard banned before for like 90 days for some controversial reasons, and I ended up mad back then. But another question is in relation to the discord.vatpack.org website, and for those who have like been banned or like been unbanned, but seems to be like no link to like reconnect to the Discord server, and we had to end up like messaging someone or emailing in order to get the link. Is there going to be any improvements to the Discord website for like people who used to be?
Yeah, so
The
when you
short
get
answer
unbanned
is to don't get banned. Like seriously, the short answer is don't get banned. The long answer is we'll do some technology updates. I guess Tom, do you want to touch on that?
Yeah, look, I'll touch on it more later, but when it comes to discord.vatpack.org, there are a few changes that need to be made. Kind of looking with the redesign to redesign that all a bit and reorganize it a bit to make it a bit more easier both for moderators and for users. When it comes to the invite link, yes, that is something I can add relatively easily. So I'll get that on the list to get that done.
Sorry, Zane. Also, as far as I'm aware, after tests off banning myself, I'm pretty sure the Vatpack Zero bot will send you a DM saying that you've been unbanned and will give you a link to rejoin. I don't know if it's doing that. I know
for hard bans, yes.
For hard ban, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
The issue there is if your Discord settings say that you can only have people DM you when you're in the same server as them, then it can't actually send you a message.
Oh, of course, yes.
So yeah, that's the issue there. If your preferences say anyone can message you, then you're fine. It will send you a message.
Brilliant. Well, thank you,
Be
Zane, for your
nice,
question.
don't get banned.
Yeah, that's the short of it. Just don't get banned. Thanks,
We
thanks,
should
Zane,
change
for
the
your.
Discord policy to just say don't get banned.
We'll move on. Last question for membership from Bill, and then we'll move on. Go ahead, Bill.
Should be working perfect. So yeah, some members couldn't be here in the Discord call right now, but I just like to speak on behalf of someone who's actually not in the call now. For Mike South, he's brought up with me the topic of off-topic chat and how if there was to be one brought back in, is there a chance of it being, put in the rules or Discord policy of the outlines of what can and can't be in the off-topic chat?
We go back to sort of what Josephine was saying earlier about if we created a policy that said who could say what, it'd be a 1,500 page policy about all the sorts of different things. It's if you want to, it's easiest for us as volunteers if we just talk about Vatpack stuff in the Vatpack Discord. And if you want to talk about non-Vatpack stuff, I know that plenty of you guys have your own Discords. So, talk about that stuff in your own Discords. Talk about Vatpack stuff in these Discords. It's just so hard to moderate and filter through all this random stuff in a channel and make sure that it meets all the guidelines and it's not bad for underage people, all that sort of stuff. It's just, I don't know if anybody else wants to add on, but the simple answer is it's too difficult to moderate everything. So we just say it's a Vatpack Discord, talk about Vatpack stuff.
At the end of the day, Discord is another messaging platform, and we as Vatpack have a server which is just a collection of groups. It's kind of like a Facebook group. You can message people, but you can create Facebook groups, and in those Facebook groups about, I don't know, footy. You're really only going to be talking about footy. It's the same sort of thing. If you, as Zach said, just go create another thing. If you can even just message someone directly. So.
Yep. Okay. Sounds good. Thanks for that.
Great. Thanks. Thanks, Bill. We'll move on now. So I know Stephen, he's in and out tonight, so due to work. But if there's any questions for operations, we can answer them. So if you've got a question for operations, raise your hand now, and we'll see where we can go.
Airspace and publications, where
Airspace and publications, yes.
point of order.
Oh, Bailey Brown, go ahead. Oh, yep, there we go.
G'day, guys. Bit of an old question. With regards to the Pacific Island airspace, what is it? Vanuatu lower center's been vibing around for a few years. Is there any thoughts of bringing in the New Caledonian lower center?
Yes.
Oh yeah, sweet. Yeah, that was all. Thanks.
There are thoughts. Yeah. Is Pete Story in? Don't think he is.
Is he?
Oh no, he is there. He might be able to speak to that, Pete. If you're listening and if you want to stick your hand up. But I am aware that there has been. Yeah, there we go. Do you want to?
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go, Pete. You're up.
I think there was some AIS type things that were preventing that at the moment.
Look, to be honest, I'd have to revisit it again. We did that back in 2017, and it was a very complex exercise pulling together the Pacific stuff, lack of documentation, different approaches to airspace management. So we put together the best we could. I'm happy to revisit it. So if I understand the question, you're after an approach for, well, New Caledonia's already got an approach. What you're after, a centre for New Caledonia?
Yeah, I was looking through their AIP, and like how Vanuatu's got that weird triangle lower center in the Fiji FIR, there's also the New Caledonia one. I was just wondering if we'd be able to add that with.
Yeah, well, essentially the reason the FIR's there is as a centre position, and we don't have a centre position for New Caledonia. I'm happy to look at it again. To be honest, off the top of my head, I cannot remember the whole decision process you went through, but I'll go back on my notes.
Yeah, I think it's something we note for the next time we review Pacific airspace. Pete, what do you reckon?
Yep, I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. Cheers.
Great. Thanks, Bailey.
Thanks, Peter.
All right. Is there any other questions for airspace and publications before we move on? I don't think so. Okay. Well, we'll keep going. Technology. Oh, was there one? There was two. Sorry.
All right. Good evening, all. I was just going through some of the local instructions for our procedural towers over the past couple of days, and I've noticed that some of them are getting quite old. I think the one for Albury or something hasn't been updated since 2014 or something. No, it wasn't Albury, it was Tamworth. And as some of you may know, we've had our Class Echo dropped to flight level 125, and that hasn't been put through to some of these documents. So I'm just wondering if those have any plans to be updated anytime soon.
Plenty of plans.
Oh, Stephen's here.
I've just stuck in for that one. Yes. I've just put out a call for volunteers to join the team, and I will be hopefully talking to some people this week. I'm a little bit snowed under with work at the moment. I work for Service New South Wales with the COVID app, so I'm quite busy at the moment, and we've got a new addition to that coming out tomorrow, so that's why I'm in and out of work at the moment. So So yes, we are aware of local instructions needing a major revamp, and it is the major plan for going forward with Peter doing his stuff as well. Yeah, so just watch the space, and hopefully we'll get everything up to date soon.
Okay, that's sweet. Cheers.
All right, too easy. So we'll keep going now. Tom, onto you with technology.
Yeah. So in terms of technology, we've been working on a few things. So obviously the help desk, Adam's been working on and has put that up. Personally, for myself, I've been working on some bit more administrative sides where so implementing a new authentication system that's an authentication authorization system so that all the permissions across all of the systems will come together. Now, while that may sound awesome, it's taking a lot longer than I would have liked because there's a lot of systems to hook into. So if anyone is interested in how that works technically, I won't go into too much depth, but I'm sure people have heard of Active Directory. Well, this is using basically a directory server and that manages the permissions and then goes out and sends it to everything. So that forums, Discord, and everything will all be managed universally, and we won't have to have all that. It'll be a bit more secure because we won't have to. There won't be dangling permissions when people leave. That's forgotten and all of that sort of thing. As well as it'll be more useful for various directors to add people into their departments. That's that. With that, that's kind of the hinging factor for a few other projects that we're looking at as well. And that's kind of that. I've been a bit busy in my own time. I've literally just moved into a new place 2 days ago, so that's taken a lot of time and been a real headache. So yeah, but that's kind of it from me. Are there any questions or any questions for Adam as well about the ticket system further? I know he's had to leave, but I can pass them on or try to answer them.
Oh, I thought one more thing on IT. I know we've started the works for a map and weather system, which we'll chuck on the homepage in the future, which will be a good addition for the blank white space that's currently at the bottom of the homepage.
Yeah. Just another thing. Previously, we were beta testing some data APIs using some of the VATSIM data to repopulate the stats on the page that we used to have, which was using the old VATSIM API, which no longer works. So we were beta testing something, and then VATSIM, being VATSIM, decided to go and change it all. So that was great, and was missing a few details that we needed, mainly the coordinates of a controller. Stephen Brown recently sent me an email with some details about a workaround. I haven't been able to implement that yet, but as soon as we get a chance, we will be able to implement that.
We've got online controllers working again, so we're all good for that.
Yeah. I can't remember off the top of my head what the issue with that was, but that was resolved.
It was a DDoS protection.
There you go. Yeah. Also, we're always looking for volunteers. There's a lot of projects we like to work on. I think IT is probably the department that gets hounded by people the most. So we're always looking for any volunteers that if you have any idea of a project for yourself, please send me an email. Always looking for people. If there's no questions or questions about anything to do with the technical side of Discord or anything like that. So that's easy for me.
I got away scot-free.
Oh, lucky.
No, I'm joking. All right, well, there's nothing, so we'll move on to Greg. Take it away.
What do I have to say? Hello, everyone. Well, most people should know me. Been around long enough. I'm in charge of ATC training and standards. I have Will Smart and Matt Kelly both helping me in managerial roles, looking after the training side and the standards side. If you need any info about how the department's running, please go and read the recent quarterly report, and I'll take any questions.
Oh, we've got something. Jacob, we'll start with you.
Hello, everyone. So I guess my question is, are we going to see any changes in regards to waiting times for being assigned a mentor and communication between students and staff members?
Yeah, I should hope so. Obviously the waiting time for being assigned, well, they're not assigned a mentor. A mentor basically volunteers to pick you up when you get to the top of the list. And the delay from when you complete your exam to when you are picked up by a mentor is largely dependent upon a number of factors. So they will be how much time the mentor has, how many students the mentor currently has on the go, and how long a process the mentoring of those current students is. So it is a variable and very dynamic thing. Sometimes you'll be picked up for a mentor within a few days. Other times you might wait a week or two. It's just a matter of as you move to the top of the list, you'll be picked up when a mentor becomes available.
So
I'm doing
between April 1st and June 30th, we had like 46 students or something.
Yes,
Yeah,
something along those lines.
yeah.
And yeah, so to a certain extent, yes, we're always working to reduce those times as much as we can. And one way to do that is to add more staff to the team. But the downside of that is, in order to be a member of the team, you need to have a certain amount of experience in both ATC and teaching of others. So we are doing our best to replenish stocks of staff within the team. And to answer your question, Jacob, yes, of course, we're always looking to minimise delay.
Yeah, I was coming out of a personal point of view because my waiting time was like 5 months, and throughout that whole time there was like barely any emails regarding what was actually happening. And because I was originally, someone did volunteer to mentor me, but I never heard back from them what happened. And then about 5 months later, I got picked up and went through the process. But besides that, it was very smooth.
Yeah, there are all sorts of reasons why that might have been the case. 5 months is unacceptable for a start, but I'd have to look back into your specific case to find out why.
Yeah, that's fine. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lovely. All right, we'll keep going. Let's invite Chris up.
G'day. So my question is relating to the new VATSIM GCAP policy that's getting released soon. I was wondering if you guys have any plans to utilise the new positions that are being released.
I wouldn't say we have plans to utilise the new positions that are being released until we see an official policy. There are, of course, ideas bouncing around about how some of those proposed positions could be used in our local airspace. And to a certain degree, those positions already exist and are already used, and the new policy merely forms a framework and gives them a name.
Okay, awesome.
We can't really act on it until the policy is ratified by the VATSIM Board of Governors, and the term being released soon. Yeah, I would hesitate to use that term personally. It's got a fair way to go.
Sure. Awesome. That's it. Thanks.
Thanks, Chris. We'll move on. Spencer now.
How are we? I was just going to ask about procedural training and other aspects of like the initial training for S2s. I've just been seeing recently like the lack of knowledge surrounding aircraft that aren't like RNAV, Magenta Line sort of pilots. Like, I'm just going to ask if there was any sort of training to give more knowledge about VFR pilots, like procedures in and out of airports, and also like pilots flying stuff that aren't, I don't know, like 737s or something on stars, like helicopters and stuff. Was there going to be any sort of more knowledge about that? Because at the moment there doesn't seem to be much, I don't know how to say it, but like knowledge on how to operate those aircraft within the community.
Sorry, there was a number of questions there.
No worries.
Yes, controllers are examined, or they mentored, and they are examined on their handling of VFR aircraft into and out of Class Charlie when they're doing their TMA rating.
Yep.
There is some content regarding the handling of helicopters as part of the tower rating. And there is also some examination of IFR general aviation operations within Class Charlie and Delta airspace as part of the TMA rating.
Yep.
Specific examples, we can't cover every single specific example for every single specific tower and TMA within the country. Otherwise, the delays that Jacob was just asking about would just snowball into oblivion. There is an onus upon controllers, and it's actually a part of the code of conduct, that controllers are knowledgeable in the local airspace for which they control. There are many sources of information regarding the handling of the types of traffic that you're talking about, and these are contained within URSA, within some of our local instructions even. And I would put some of what you're talking about into that basket. Having said that, we have recently identified some gaps in, especially around Metro D type towers.
Yeah.
And the handling of traffic into and out of those, that has been somewhat added to our training materials already.
Yeah, cool.
So new controllers are going through that. But as I said, it is difficult to train on even those things, because you need to speak in very general terms, because the procedures at Moorabbin are different to the procedures at Bankstown and are different to the procedures at Parafield. So you need to speak in very general terms about how aircraft are processed and separated in those locations. The rest is up to the student to go and find.
Yep. And just another question, will there be further education on handling Class D traffic and procedural towers for both the pilots and the controllers?
Yes.
Cool. And one more, my friend asked, what was it?
Sorry, who's your friend?
No comment. But someone said they just wanted to know if they're still able to be trained for an S2 if they're not in the server.
Sorry, who's your friend?
Sorry?
Who's your friend that's asking the question?
Do I have to say that?
Well, if you want me to answer the question, you do.
Oh, well. I think we'll
I think we can read between the.
I don't know who I'm
read
answering
between
the
the
question
lines
to.
here.
You've stepped up here, Spencer. Is it your question or not?
Oh well, it's not
someone
my
else's?
question. Someone else's.
Okay. Oh, they can get up and ask the question.
You can tell that person to send Greg an email if he's got a question.
No worries. Cheers, guys.
No worries. Liesel, lucky last. All right.
So basically, my question is just pertaining to my status of being out of the loop. How do you feel the use of solo certifications have gone for Backpack? And second, because Spencer does not realize you can just run it this way, how do you deal with students who aren't in the Discord when you do training?
We wait until they can be in the Discord to do training.
Okay, to the first one then.
Yep. The first question. Sorry, can you repeat the first question?
Of course. So, how do you feel the use of solo certifications have gone for Backpack since you introduced them?
I feel they have gone very well. So much so they've been incorporated into our local policies, our local training policies. They give the student an opportunity to practice their craft before they're officially rated for the rest of the country, and that that practice of the craft can occur in a fairly controlled environment with the restrictions that we place on that solo endorsement. Do you feel the same way?
Just from monitoring, I think Xander is the current example of using them actually pretty well on Melbourne Approach at the moment. I think I
Yep.
agree with you that another one to follow on, would you ever consider the use of perhaps if the solo certification continues to go well, perhaps introducing live over-the-shoulder exams on Backpack, if you would ever consider that?
An over-the-shoulder check already occurs prior to a student being endorsed for a solo endorsement. I'm definitely open to over-the-shoulder exam scenarios for rating upgrades. However, I'm a firm believer that the current simulator system is in our local environment is a far better demonstration of a student's competency in the same controlled conditions as the last student that was assessed. Doing that in an over-the-shoulder situation is quite difficult, and it would only form a part of a broader assessment strategy.
Things that sound reasonable for Australia.
Yep, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Liesel. Greg, I don't know if you wanted to touch on TMS, otherwise
Yes,
we can,
I do.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get Will up as well.
Yep, let's get Will involved.
Yeah. Cool.
Thanks, Will. Sorry, excuse me, 2 seconds. Sorry. What we're referring to here is our new, similar to the membership ticketing system, we now have a new, very clean, very swish training management system, which this month we're moving towards using as a primary system, but still using our old system as a backup for now. The system is able to handle all training requests and track all exam results, mentoring, and assessment of both our standard ATC ratings and any endorsements that we also offer. I'll let Will sort of talk about the system itself. Will has put in countless hours over an extended period of time to bring this to us, and this is something that has been attempted many times in the past, and has fallen by the wayside due to the sheer number of hours that it requires to develop. Will, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, I can give just a really quick rundown. Thanks, Greg. So essentially, it's just a replacement, if you will, of the training at backpack.org email address, rather than all of the administration being performed through that email address. It's just centralizing it. So whenever students want to seek training, they log on to this system, submit their exam request, and then that's all managed through there, so the mentors can get immediate access to that information as required. And it also enables, rather than just the training administrator to assign exams, for example, any of the training admin staff can do that. So it'll decrease your wait times on that, which, although they're already quite small, you may be getting it within hours now. Yeah, that's pretty much it. From a student point of view, it's really just a centralisation of all your reports and checklists into one spot. Obviously, that's only applicable for new requests, but happy to take any specific questions on that front if there's any. But really, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, thanks, Will. It's just a background process that will help us to deliver your training more efficiently, I think, into the future.
Significantly.
Significantly, and one of the significant changes is the ability for the instructor to authorize your rating upgrade immediately following your assessment, which is something that the VATSIM Board of Governors is actually pushing for, and I've had discussions with them recently about it. Chris is waiting in the wings.
And just while we're getting Chris up, I should also highlight that we're still just working out any kinks and bugs in the system. So if anyone looking for training does encounter that, feel free to just flick us not an email. Feel free to put a ticket in, and we'll work through that and help sort you out.
Oh, and if anybody notices a reference to contacting training@vatpac.org to provide exam answers or request access to exams or anything like that, just send me an email, because I've tried to go through everything and change it all around, but I'm sure I've missed something. Chris.
Yeah, thanks. I don't really have a question. I just want to say good work to you and Will for getting this training management system done. Yeah.
Good work to Will.
Yeah, good stuff for that. Being someone that's used it for my latest upgrade, it just cuts the time down significantly. So thanks for that.
No worries. Thanks, Chris. That might cover it, Blair.
Yeah, right. Okay. If anyone's got any general questions just for the next 5 minutes.
Did anyone have questions about senior controller?
Oh, yes.
Under requests.
So just while we're waiting for any requests, the senior controller policy came out in the last 6 months or so. We are already looking at a revision to some of the requirements for applying for a senior controller status, or rating rather. The bottom line is, this rating doesn't get you any additional privileges, especially if we change how non-standard positions work. And essentially, we're looking to reward what would only be considered as exemplary service and mastery of controlling practices. So there are some tweaks coming, but seeing as nobody's stuck their hand up to ask any questions, obviously he's happy with that. Back to Blair.
Yeah, cool. So does anyone have any general questions? If they've forgot something and they want to ask again, or if you don't want to put your hand up, you can send them to me. Otherwise, we'll close up. Oh, there we go.
Sorry, I should have put my hand up just before on that senior controller policy. So say, for me, I was reading through the policy and I noticed that one of the requirements was to do the procedural endorsement. Now, I didn't do that, and I got my S3 before my procedural.
Can still do it.
Can still do it. Okay.
Yep.
That is all I needed to know, or think about. That was all.
Would highly recommend still doing it.
Can you still do it?
I did.
I noticed that I can't request it through TMS or anything.
Will?
Yeah, we can make that happen.
We can make that happen. Sorry, thanks. We'll make that happen.
Yeah,
I do think we
not
actually
be done anytime soon. Just just something to think about.
Yeah. It's good.
I did my my procedure after I had my C1 as well, because I don't think the procedure existed at the time, or if it did, it was offline because it needed to be updated. So yeah, you can do it.
It was answer these questions in a Word document. Yeah.
Cool. No more questions. Oh, if that's the case, it's been quite an efficient town hall. Hopefully, you guys have all enjoyed the use of the stages. Obviously, we're always open for your feedback. So if you've got anything you'd like to say about the way this has been run, or if you've got any suggestions, any improvements, feel free to shoot me a email at membership@vatpat.org. Thanks for everyone who's taken the time to come have a listen. We'll get this up on the YouTube hopefully as soon as possible, probably tomorrow. And yeah, thanks to all the board and the senior staff that have been able to help present. Obviously, Queensland coming out of lockdown today, it's been quite a busy time for some. So thanks everyone for coming. If that's the case, we might close up unless anyone on the board's got anything they'd like to say finally.